back to my channel. It's the Music Victorian, and once again, me and my library. And this time, I think I want to get into another Skillet project. I've only heard one project by Skillet, and of course, you know that's Awake, their most known, most popular project. It has Monster on it. And that's just been really interesting listening to Rise because I recently heard a song on that album and I grew up on A&B, so music like that's like something that sticks to me. I'm ready to go into the second one. I held out until we got to this point because I didn't want to listen to this album without recording it. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Shattered pieces, I can't keep it hidden like a secret. I can't look away from all this pain in the world we made. Every day you need a bulletproof vest to save yourself from what you could never guess. Am I safe today? When I step outside of the wars we wage, our future's here and now. Here comes the countdown. Sound it off, this is the call. It's our time to change it all. Rising revolution. Unite and fight to make a better life. Everybody one for.
We all know that Skillet is a religious band. They're very Christian, and I wonder if Rise is kind of like talking about us as Christians coming together, because I want to know exactly what they meant by Rise. And if it isn't that deep, it has to be that deep. They're a rock band. Everything is usually in metaphors.
Sound off, this is the call. Tonight we rise. Rise. Tonight we rise. Rise. Tonight we rise. Like a hand grenade thrown in a hurricane, spinning in chaos, trying to escape the flame. Yesterday is gone, faster than the blast of a carnal. And when the scars heal, the pain passes. As hope burns, we rise from the ashes. Darkness fades away, and the light shines on a brave new day. Our future's here and now. Here comes the countdown. Sound it off, this is the call. Rising revolution. It's our time to change it all. Rising revolution. Unite and fight to make a better life. Everybody one for all. Sound off, this is the call. Tonight we rise. Rise. Tonight we rise. Rise. Tonight.
That one little loop they have going in the background at certain points, I love that so bad. Like, it sounds so unique and so signature that if you heard that, you would automatically think of Skillet. One more thing I like about Skillet is their lead vocalist. I love that they have two of them doing the work. And I feel like that contrast between the woman and the man makes all of it feel like it's harmony. It brings in a lot more than what you would get if there was just one person doing it.
We rise in a world gone mad. Sometimes it's crazy to fight for what you believe, but you can't give up if you wanna keep what you love. Keep what you love. Keep what you love. Never give up now. Rise. Rising revolution. Rise. Rising revolution. Everybody one for all. Sound off, this is the call. Rise like we're alive.
The power of the kids chanting and putting that in the background vocals over this one part right here did so much more to add volume to them saying the Rising Revolution part.
Tonight we rise. Make a better life. sick, if you're sick, if you're sick, if you're sick of it. If you're sick, if you're sick, if you're sick of it. When everything you do don't seem to matter, you try but it's no use, your world is getting blacker. When every time you fail has no answer, every empty promise made is a reminder. No one can make this better. Take control, it's now or never. Are you sick of it? Raise your hands, get rid of it while there's a fighting chance. Are you over it? Bored to death? Have you had it?
I'm not gonna lie, I grew up with like strict parents, so I couldn't really dress how I wanted to, but I promise you, all I used to listen to was rock music until I got to maybe let's say 13 years old. And I think honestly I would have been like a punk dressed person. I would have had the black nails and everything.
You stand, raise your hands if you're sick of it. If you're sick, if you're sick of it. If you're sick of it. If you're sick, if you're sick of it. Every single day I chase my own tail like a rat inside a maze. Gotta get away. I'm running out of time for me to break this. I'm tired of feeling like I'm never gonna make it. No one can make this better. Take control, it's now or never. Are you sick of it? Raise your hands, get rid of it while there's a fighting chance. Are you over it? Bored to death? Have you had enough regret? Take a stand, raise your hands if you're sick of it. If you're sick, if you're sick of it. If you're sick of it. If you're sick, if you're sick of it. I'm tired of it. I'm over it. I'm bored of it. Gotta fix this. I'm sick of it. Raise your hands if you're sick, if you're sick of it. Raise your hands if you're sick, if you're sick of it. Sick of it. Raise your hands, get rid of it while there's a fighting chance. Are you over it? Bored to death? Have you had enough regret? Take a stand, raise your hands. Are you sick of it? If you're sick, if you're sick of it. Get rid of it. If you're sick, if you're sick of it. Are you over it? Bored to death? Have you had enough regret? Take a stand, raise your hands. Are you sick of it? If you're sick, if you're sick of it. Are you sick of it? If you're sick, if you're sick of it. Are you sick of it? If you're sick, if you're sick of it. If you're sick of it. If you're sick, if you're sick of it.
No, I just thought about something. I looked around for a vinyl of this album just in case, because I thought that it's probably going to be exactly what I'm looking for, and I'm definitely going to want to buy it. But I just find it upset how every listing of this project is like 200 plus. I mean, maybe if I get done with this album and I really love it, I might consider getting it. But for right now, it's just like, damn, it's 200.
When all you got are broken dreams, just need a second chance. And everything you wanna be gets taken from your hands. We just begun. We hold on to each other. You are everything I need. You feel like forever. You're the second chance for me. It's like I almost kill ya. We've been trying to survive. It's good to be here with ya.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting mad Blink 182 vibes from this. I've only heard one Blink 82 album, so eventually I'll get to those. But I just feel like the hook kind of sits in that era of like the 90s when they first dropped that project. And I also love how his raspy voice is adding on to so much more. It's making it so much more vibrant. And the energy is completely different because he's the lead vocalist.
It's good to be alive. It's good to be alive. I was lost and I was gone. I was almost dead inside. You and me against the world. It's a beautiful night. It's good to be alive. It's a beautiful night. Yeah, it's alright. It's good to be alive. Na 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 na. It's like it almost kill ya. We've been trying to survive. It's good to be alive. It's good to be alive. And it's good to be alive. It's good to be alive. I was lost and I was gone. I was almost dead inside. You and me against the world. It's a beautiful night. It's good to be alive. It's a beautiful night. Yeah, it's alright. It's good to be alive.
Despair, you come to me with your poison and your misery. Oh, death, you come to sting with your poison and your
This is how it feels when you're bent and broken. This is how it feels when you're dreaming and stolen. I can feel the shadow creeping in my mind.
That was one of the nastiest transitions I've ever heard in my life. And it's just sitting on this project, undiscovered by the masses. That was nasty, man. That was nasty. This is always why I say you should listen to the album. I have always heard the song Not Gonna Die, but I've never heard the build up to it, and that build up was just so hype. I never expected something like that to happen. Like, it don't make any sense that that was just sitting here. Craig, let me rewind that back a little bit.
Death surrounds my heart beats slowing down. I won't take this world's abuse. I won't give up or refuse. This is how it feels when you're bent and broken. This is how it feels when your dignity's stolen.
You know what's crazy? I was looking at the titles of the songs, and I noticed that the last one was called "Good to Be Alive," and that the next one was "Not Gonna Die." And I thought they kind of go together, but I didn't think that he was actually gonna put a transition there and connect it to the next song. Because I don't really find a lot of I don't find a lot of rock albums that actually have like a structure to them. A lot of rock albums I've heard kind of sound similar, but never follow each other track to track, unless we're talking about Transmissions by Starset.
No, we're not gonna die tonight. Break their hold, 'cause I won't be controlled. They can't keep their chains on me when the truth has set me free. This is how it feels when you take your life back. This is how it feels when you finally fight back. When life pushes me, I push harder. What doesn't kill me makes me stronger.
The last thing I heard was you whispering goodbye, and then I heard you flatline.
No, not gonna die.
This the part in the song where you go Super Saiyan. You know, it's funny because I was actually reading a manga to this the other day, and that's the main reason why I said I finally have to listen to this album. Because if I play a song too many times, I'm like, it's time to listen to the full album. Because you're kind of ruining the experience of hearing it for the first time. Because like I probably would have reacted way better to this song if I haven't heard it about 100 times in the last week, is what I mean.
Tonight we're gonna stand and fight forever.
Don't close your
No,
eyes.
not gonna die tonight. We're gonna fight for us together. No, we're not gonna die tonight. Don't you give up on me. You're everything I need. This is how it feels when you take your life back. This is how it feels when you fight back. No, not gonna die tonight. We're gonna stand and fight forever.
Don't close your
No, not gonna die tonight. We're gonna fight for us together. No, we're not gonna die tonight. No, we're not gonna die tonight.
I'm starting to think that rock was probably the closest thing we had to like rage beats because they had so many small elements packed into one beat. It kind of just filled it out to the point where it had no space and you had no time to think.
Not gonna die. Not gonna die. Not gonna die tonight. You push me till I break and the anger turns to rage. Why can't you just leave me alone? Got your finger on the trigger, you think that you're the winner, but you're gonna get kicked off of your throne. No! You think you're gonna hurt me, get ready to get dirty. You created this beast inside. Pull the noose tighter and lift a little higher, 'cause you're killing me slow. I ain't ready to die. Killing me slow, but I ain't ready to die. Tonight
I love how he references the last song in this song by saying that he's not going to die. I think every time you use a small subliminal in any record that ties back to the rest of the album, it does wonders for it and creates volume and makes it feel like it's an actual project.
Circus for a psycho. Round and round we go. Look out below, 'cause I want off this side. Want off this. Circus for a psycho. Circus for a psycho. Here we go. You think you're gonna hurt me? Get ready to get dirty. Gonna burn this place to the ground. Tonight, get ready for a fight. So now you know it's time to ride a circus for a psycho. Round and round we go. Look out below, it's time to ride a circus for a psycho. Never again, never again. You're killing me slow, but I ain't ready to die. Round and round we go. Look out below, 'cause I want off this side. Want off this. Circus for a psycho. Circus for a psycho. Circus for a psycho. Circus for a psycho.
The reason why I'm laughing is because I have a few friends who, if they heard this audio through the same headphones I'm using right now, they would have a panic attack.
Angry words and honking cars, satellites and falling stars, distant dark blue radios that whisper down my boulevards. Ghosts and chains rattle in the attic, broken headphones filled with static. Lonely room, you've got nowhere to run. 3, 2, 1 for all and all for one. Times will be bad, times will be good. Things I wish I hadn't done, and somehow wish I would. Cutting through the American noise, you've got a voice and a song to sing. Drink deep in the morning, drink deep in the morning. See what the day will bring. Lift up your voice, let love cut through the American noise. La da da da. Lift up your voice, let love cut through the.
This is the type of music I can imagine someone goes on a vacation having playing in the background. And I'll also want to say that why I love rock music so bad is because it's kind of like jazz. Jazz and rock are infinite. They could take any song from any other genre and they can make it into their own. Like, I've heard so many covers where rock artists decide to take a song that's pop and make it rock. Or I've heard songs that were new school pop and someone just decided to throw a little jazz on it and it worked. Those two things are like foundations. They're like the strongest seasoning you could pour into the pot and you'll taste it more than anything else. And I love that so bad.
American noise, slamming doors and cell phone rings, hurricane force of silent screams. Don't know what to believe. In the room just to break it. You're so tired 'cause you gotta fake it, but you just wanna be someone. 3, 2, 1 for all and all for one. Times will be bad, times will be good. Things I wish I hadn't done, and somehow wish I would. Cutting through the American noise. You got a voice and a song to sing. Drink deep in the morning. Drink deep in the morning. See what the day will bring. La, da, da, da. Lift up your voice. Let love cut through the American noise. La, da, da, da. Lift up your voice. Let love cut through the American noise. No matter who you are, you've got a voice. Why don't you use it? Sing your own song. Take all the noise and make it into.
This part when he says, if you got a voice, then use it. It kind of reminds me of this era's commercials and how the Speak Up, Stop Bullying stuff was on like Nickelodeon and stuff like that. And I feel like they was also trying to work themselves into that movement. And it makes sense because they are Christian related. They do speak about issues with the people, and that's what they was doing in this album.
La da da da, 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 la da da da. Lift up your voice, let love come.
since we all can agree that rage beats kind of originated from hard rock music, I wonder if the rage beat rappers could ever think about how to approach these beats. Like, I would love to see a new gen rapper hop on an old gen rock song and see what they can do with it.
Takes over everything. This is the madness in me. The madness in me. Just one spark is all it takes. From the fire that burns inside, consuming, I fight to stay alive, but I can't break. The voices break, the enemy takes over everything. This is the madness and fire that burns inside, consuming, I fight to stay alive, but I can't.
I could be drawing too much of a picture, but I think that the voices that he hear inside of him are kind of targeted towards the insecurities that he was mentioning that other people's have, which is the reason why they tend not to use their voice because their self-esteem is low, or they always got a voice in their head telling them not to do it.
Takes over everything. This is the madness in me. The madness in me. This is the madness in me. The madness in me.
Are you far? Am I left to die? Will you come to my rescue?
He was pierced for our rebellion, crushed for our sins.
My heart will find
He
freedom.
was beaten so we could be whole.
My heart will find
He
freedom.
was whipped so we could be healed. All of us, like sheep, have strayed away. We have left God's paths to follow our own.
It's all I can do.
Yet the Lord laid on him the sins of us all. The sins of us all.
All alone, lost in this abyss, crawling in the dark. Nothing to wet my longing lips, and I wonder where you are. Are you far? Will you come to my rescue? Am I left to die? But I can't give up on you.
I feel you keeping me alive. You are my salvation.
Toughest gospel song of all time. And I love that they try to spread a message because, most people are not too eager to get into something, but people love to hear something like this, and it works more for them.
Touch you, taste you, feel you here. Oh, yeah.
I feel you keeping me alive. You are my salvation.
Hold me, heal me, keep me near. Oh, yeah.
My heart will burn for you. It's all I can do.
Salvation.
you give it all, justifying you. Hold me, heal me, I will find you. Keeping me alive, you are my salvation.
Touch you, taste you, feel you here. Oh, oh, yeah.
Our love will never die, you are my salvation.
Hold me, heal me, keep me near. Oh, oh, yeah.
My heart will burn for you, it's all I can do. Salvation, salvation. Touch you, taste you, feel you, change you. Salvation. Every brick and every stone of the world we made will come undone
If I can feel you here with me. Whoa,
in my sleep I call your name, but when I wake need to touch your face, 'cause
I need to feel you here with me. Whoa, you can stop the aching, 'cause you're the one I need.
This reminds me of that episode of South Park where they were making gospel music, and Cartman was like, "Hey, bro, all you have to do is take a gospel song." I know he said take a love song, and instead of you and other words for the other significant other that they're talking about, just put Jesus. And they were quite literally making love songs about Jesus Christ, and it was just so crazy.
I will burn for you with fire and fury, fire and fury. My heart hurts for you. Your love burns within me with fire and fury. Whoa. If I freeze, you are the flame. You melt my heart, I'm washed in your rain. I know
You'll always have the best of me. Whoa,
destiny's got a hold on me. Guess I never knew love like love knows me, 'cause
I need to feel you here with me.
I will burn for you with fire and fury, fire and fury. My heart hurts for you. Your love burns within me with fire and fury. Whoa. Let it all fall down to dust. Can't break the two of us. We are safe in the strength of love. You can stop the aching, 'cause you're the one I need. I will burn for you with fire and fury.
There's always this one thing that I wish rock groups would do, and I wish they would have like I wish they would have their album in a specific order so that all the hype songs are together and then it branches off with the transition to the more melodic, softer songs. Because like the up and down is throwing me off. Because 1 second my energy is up here and then next my energy is like midway through, you know? One thing I noticed in this album is they're being a lot more direct with their message about religion and Jesus Christ. And I love that they're putting more effort to just throw it out instead of like kind of hiding it behind metaphors, even though that's the way lyricists do it.
My devotion, fanatical though it may be, I love your mind, heart, body, and soul. You're the only sanctuary that I know. I don't need to stare at stained glass and a steeple. I don't need to dress to impress all other people. Don't need no priest, don't need no pew. You are our religion, my religion is you. I don't need no other purpose, you give me a reason. Ain't their business what I wanna believe in. You are my priest, you are my truth. You are our religion, my religion is you. Who's gonna heal my pain? Nothing makes me feel like you do. Who can drive my demons away? Nothing makes me heal like you do. I love your mind, heart, body, and soul. You're the only sanctuary that I know. I don't need to stare at stained glass and a steeple. I don't need to dress to impress all other people. Don't need no priest, don't need no You are my religion is you. Turned on the TV yesterday. So much pain bleeding through. I had to look away, but inside me the picture's just the same. And every time I open up my eyes, nothing seems to change. It never seems to change. You give me faith to believe there's a way to put the past finally behind me and hope to make it through another night. You give me strength during these dark times when I'm blind. You are my light. Faith is hard to find. Faith is hard to find. Something woke me in the night. In the midst of the darkness, I recognize the light. Now inside me the picture seems so clear. All that died in my broken dreams is starting to appear. Starting to appear. You give me faith to believe there's a way to put the past finally behind me and hope to make it through another night. You give me strength during these dark times when I'm blind. You are my light, and faith is hard to find. Faith is hard to find. If I fall, will you hold on to me? Through it all, promise you won't lose me. These days, hope is hard to come by. And tonight, I don't know how I can survive. You give me faith to believe there's a way to put the past finally behind me and hope to make it through another night. You give me strength during these dark times when I'm blind. You are my light, but faith is hard to find. Faith is hard to find. You give me faith.
The idea of faith being so hard to find is such a true thing because it's crazy how even when you're at the point in your life when you're at your lowest and you do find that faith, as soon as your life get better, your faith might start slipping again because you might just feel like that faith was tied to you doing bad in life and now you're no longer in that stage anymore.
To believe there's a way to put the past finally behind me and hope to make it through another night. You give me strength during these dark times when I'm blind. You are my light, and faith is hard to find.
A grinning face with tongue out.
I love that they decided to end that album on a bang because in the last project, Awake, they decided to finish it on a more mellow tip. So I kind of like how they're trying to bring that energy as they decide to close it off.
The world around me is lost in misery. The only good I've got in my life is you. No meaning, no other reason. When everything feels wrong, I feel right with you.
So madly, desperate, deeply,
Okay, first let's look at the songs that I liked off the album. So of course, you know that all the mainstream songs like Rise and Not Gonna Die are definitely very much loved. But I do like to see the newcomers such as Good to Be Alive. The transition from Good to Be Alive to Not Gonna Die is probably one of the best I've ever heard, and I think it might be in my top 10. And I did appreciate Circus for a Psycho. That was a nice touch. And then I also did like My Religion really bad. Okay, so now we're in my afterthoughts. So now, if you're wondering how I feel about this project, first question is, does it live up to the last project that they had dropped before this one? And I think that it does live up to it. And now I'm not gonna say that Awake is their best project because I haven't heard them all. So far all I've heard is Awake and the album from 2022. And I think that this one has a perfect placement right in between those two. I like that this one kept all the it kept most of the lower tone songs together, and that made me kind of get used to that energy. But coming from something so hype to something so low kind of got me tired a little bit in the middle. I wish they understood their audience to know that they have to keep a certain energy level if they're going to have tracks that's on the opposite side of the spectrum. Now, so aside from album structure, I also think that, yeah, aside from album structure, I feel like they did everything else good. And of course they had a message, and having a message already makes that album good by itself. I feel like some things in this album kind of overstayed its welcome. And I just think that I feel like the balance between hype and message on a lower tone kind of was like offsetting. They had too many songs that were more lower tone and focused on passing on that message instead of trying to keep them engaged and giving them that hard rock sound that they're known for. Like maybe they thought the hit records that they gave us before that album dropped was enough, but I feel like most of this album could have been harder rock songs instead of all the lightness that we got. Now, if I was to give this album a grade, I'd probably say it sits between the B minus and the B neutral range. I would probably lean a little bit more towards B neutral just because of the placement in my heart a couple of these songs had before listening to this album. I think I might be listening to Evanescence next, but stay tuned. It was the Music Victorian. Videos like this will come again. Never know what genre I might listen to next. Alright, we out.